It is with a heavy heart that I have to say goodbye to my good friend, the Yellow Cap. It's been one glorious week with him on my side. But until next time, my friend, we'll see you for round 3. Yes, welcome back everyone to the Super Rugby Aotearoa preview show for round 3 of the competition. We've got 2 fantastic matches coming up this weekend once again. But as always, let's take a look at Super Brew leaderboard. Now that we've had a couple of rounds, we're starting to get a little bit of a look as to how the league is shifting up. Now, as you can see on the table here, it is the hot running form of the Yellow Cap winner, Nana, this week, who's raced up 16 spots to join myself near, now let's be clear about this, near the top of the table. But there is only one man in the number 1 spot, and that is, yes, so I'm still there. I'm still at number 1. So Nana, good job, great job in fact, picking last weekend. Nailed both results pretty much perfectly as well. So did a fantastic effort there. Picked up the Yellow Cap. I was still there or thereabouts, about half a point behind the top guys from the round. So I've kept hold of number 1 spot. And you can see Nick 42N, who was second after last round, has dropped now down to 3rd. The rest is catch up, boys. You see the driving maul down there. He moved up 10 spots, but no chance for the Yellow Cap or the number 1 crown. So well done everyone on your picks. And how can you go this weekend? Well, let me know your thoughts and predictions in the comments section below. As always, make sure you follow me on Twitter as well to get all the reports from the games this weekend as we watch them together. And thirdly, that's 3 fingers, just thirdly, go check out behindthepost.com where I put my predictions up a lot earlier than this video. Pre-lineups, pre-everything like that. This video is post-lineup, so I can get a little bit more insights of teams. If you want to know what I think early in the week, generally around a Tuesday or Monday if I'm really onto things, I have my predictions up there early of what I think is going to happen. And I always stick with them as well, so it's best to get your ideas in first and early. Go to behindthepost.com. Let me know your thoughts on there as well. Leave a comment as to your picks and what you think is going to happen. But this weekend, we've got 2 games. The Blues are hosting the Highlanders, and it will be the Crusaders up against the woefully injured Chiefs. We'll take a look at those 2 matches, and let's see what's going to happen. So Eden Park is going to be playing host to the opening match of round 3 in Super Rugby Aotearoa, where the Blues will be facing the Highlanders. Now, this is 2 undefeated teams here in round 3. The Blues, of course, they've played twice, and of course, the Crusaders are the other side yet to lose. But much like the Highlanders, they've only played 1 game. So that isn't quite really a true reading. The Blues, certainly, having played 2 matches, are the real undefeated side so far. But there will only be 2 remaining after this opening matchup as the Highlanders are travelling away to Auckland to face the Blues. And let's be quite honest about this one. And let's be quite honest about the whole competition as a whole right now. After 2 rounds, we've had 4 matches and every team's played at least 1 game. We can see quite a divide already in this competition where the top 2 teams clearly are, I think, the Blues and the Crusaders. We've seen, yes, the scoreline in that match last week against the Hurricanes for the Crusaders wasn't huge for the most part. We had 65 minutes and the scores were dead even. But I do think that Crusaders team, a week off early, they're just getting rolling. I think they're just going to get better and better as this competition goes on. And I just can't see those bottom 3 sides, the Chiefs, the Highlanders and the Hurricanes, in no specific order, mind you, getting near these top 2 teams at the moment. Maybe if this sort of game was played at Forsyth Bar, or if the Crusaders were going to play the Hurricanes, well, they did play them in Wellington, didn't they? And that didn't prove much difference at all. So that home advantage is the only advantage that these teams are going to get. For the Highlanders going to Eden Park, and for our next match, the Chiefs going to Orange Theory Stadium or Canterbury Stadium, whatever you want to call it, that is just even less of an advantage. And it's just tough to see those sides getting the result. And I think this, after the opening 2 rounds that have been really close to call, and I think there's quite a lot of games that were, maybe 60-40 sort of chances for the 2 sides to get the result. This week, I'm pretty confident, and I've gone really early, and I've gone pretty much straight away with my predictions on this week's matches. So, Blues, Highlanders, okay. Both sides pretty much haven't changed much. The Blues, let's be honest, they've got to say, it ain't broke. Don't fix it. Don't touch it. Don't do anything unless you have to. They've had a couple of injuries, like of Tom Robinson and an impressive back row. But when you've got a guy like Akira Ioane, you just say, well, you can play instead. I mean, that is a true testament of their good depth that they do have in certain positions. I mean, things are working well. I think that halves combination of Sam Nock and Ortidi Black that, you look at and say, oh, that's a bit of a weakness. I think that is somewhere that they're playing at their peaks, their power right now. And if they can do that for the whole season, great for the Blues. If they can't, I think it's going to prove to be a bit of a problem for the Blues in the future. Although they seem to be going all right now, so hopefully for their sake they can continue it. For the Highlanders, from round one, of course, they've still got that ongoing injury. Josh Ioane pulled out late in round one, and he's pulled out early this time for round three. So Mitch Hunt's gone straight into that number 10 jumper. There's a bit of a change at fullback as well. They've gone with Scott Gregory this week to just start directly in the number 15 jumper. So that's just a real only change is at fullback for the Highlanders. The rest of the team has remained the same. So more pressure goes on like a Dylan Hunt to really be that massive tackler once more. And of course, none more so than that big man, Makele Tu'u, at number 8. He's got to have another stormer because he is such a key performer in this Highlanders outfit. Now, looking at this earlier and some other preview shows I've done, weather has proven to be a bit of a topic from those living in the areas of the North Island of New Zealand. So I'm about as far as possibly away you can get in New Zealand from being in Auckland. So weather, to me, I mean, it's beautiful and sunny here. You Aucklanders, you criticise us down here for being wet. You guys got it rough. It looks like it's going to be woefully bad, terrible, rainy, crappy, just scrawly, yucky, yuck weather. You don't get that down here in Southland, do you? But that's going to be a problem. Now, the Highlanders predominantly play under that roof, don't they? Down in Forsyth Bar, down this part of the world. Weather doesn't really matter. Yeah, it's cold, fill it up, run around for a little bit, and you're nice and warm. Here at Eden Park, it looks like it's going to be quite the opposite. It's going to be wet, it's going to be slippery. This is going to be pretty much a forward-dominated game, which I think, to be fair, will suit the Highlanders to a degree, because if you look at their forwards, you look at their backs, they've got to have the advantage into what their forwards can do. You've got a lot of workhorses in there. You've got the great form of their maul with the likes of Ash Dixon really directing that from the front. We've seen against the Chiefs. They went to that. It was successful. Expect to see that more. You've got those strong running back rows, especially Makele Tu'u, who will do a lot of work. And we need to see more from the likes of Shannon Frizzell, like we said in round one. If they can get more out of him and get that hard running back row to do a bit more, it could be a bit of a chance here for the Highlanders. Out of the two matches this weekend, I think this is going to be the closer and the most possible chance for an upset, but the Highlanders need to play at the top of their game because the Blues are confident, the Blues are happy, and the Blues are settled, and that is the main thing for them. We're not going to talk too much more about the back row. We know what they're going to Akira Ioane, Dalton Pavili, Hoskins Satutu. We know what those guys bring now. We need to see what they can do continued in this wet weather, along with that front five who are coming on quite nicely as well. Patrick Tuipulotu, I think, is the best man in a Blues jumper this season. Yes, he's been credited for playing quite well, which I would 100% agree with. I would go further into saying he has been their top performer. So Tutu's getting all the plaudits at the moment from the media here in New Zealand, but I think Patrick Tuipulotu has been the man. Line out, around the field, scrums, tackling, defence, just everything. He is immense, he is present, and he is a leader. And I think this season he has grown from a good player, not a leader, certainly not a leader, a good player that I want to see more from. He's evolved. He's like a blooming Pokemon, isn't he? He's changed into something else. He has become now, I think, that top tier sort of player. I just hope he can keep there. He's got to be able to keep there if he can. I mean, he is an All Black second rower, just got to be there, becoming kind of one of those guys that has to be on the team sheet. And in an area where I think New Zealand rugby isn't hugely well endowed in, that is something they need to go along with the likes of the Whitelocks, the now injured for the whole season, Scott Barrett's, and those sort of players, the Retallicks. That sort of enigma of a player, Tuipulotu needs to fill that role, and he's doing it very nicely at the moment for the Blues. How much will the back see of this ball is going to be an interesting question. They're lucky they've got quite strong runners in that back line. So the silky skills that we normally would see from a back line, I don't think are going to be very effective. The kicks, I think, are going to be territorially based. The high ball is going to be a mess. If you want to go to that high ball, it's going to be even more of a gamble than normal because it's going to be hard just to compete for it, let alone try and take it and catch it. It risks mistakes, but the flip side is it risks mistakes from the opposition as well. So you got Scott Gregory, of course, not the hugely experienced player at this level. Question marks will be thrown at him straight away, I do think, when you got guys like Beauden Barrett who will be chasing hard on kicks as well, and you'd imagine will be competing. So that could go either which way. Who's going to play that good high ball game? But yeah, I think that fancy crossfield kick, trying finishing attacking kicks like that, will be at a minimum this weekend for the Blues and the Highlanders for that matter as well. Although without Ioane at 10, I don't think we'd normally see them that much anyway. Overall, Caleb Clark, I'm sorry. Mark Hillier, I'm sorry as well. I don't know you're going to see much ball. Although against the Chiefs last weekend, you actually did not a bad job, especially at the end. They kind of got a little bit risky. They kind of got a little bit confident and did finish off those chances that they created through the good work of their forwards. Overall, though, this is going to be tough. The Highlanders have to defend valiantly. Defense number one. Stop the Blues scoring. Just go for penalties. If they can win the penalty battle... Okay, let's be honest about this again as well. Super Rugby Aotearoa, line out, or set piece, for that matter. Penalties, 1-1 equals victory. That's Super Rugby Aotearoa at the moment. If you can win your line out, if you win your scrum, win your set piece, don't concede 1,010,000 penalties, you can win a game. You will be the winning game. The Crusaders a little bit bucked that trend, I think. Slightly, they conceded a lot. We'll talk about them in a minute in the second game. But they also scored tries for fun. Will they get that luxury through the rest of winter? I would doubt it. But I think it's going to be tough. Yeah, defence is where they need to go. And if the Highlanders really want to do something to try and upset the Blues, they need to absolutely smash Orteli Black. And I'm not meaning smash as to run into him, because he doesn't seem too affected by getting run over when he's on defence. They need to smash him when he has the ball. If he gets the ball at first receiver, which obviously as a fly half he will, smash him. Smash him, smash him. If he goes for a kick, charge it, block it, hit him, do something to upset him. Hammer his confidence, a couple of charge down kicks, and he gets in trouble. Yes, you say, oh, but they'll just switch Beauden Barrett there. But it's one less player who's playing with confidence. If you can get rid of that chink, then you've got to change something at fullback. Then you've got an option to hammer that guy at fullback, because who's going to come on there? Harry Plummer? I mean, there's a guy we know who gets absolutely smashed with no confidence. He can be... he does it himself. He misses a kick and he just goes, oh, no. And, that's what they need. I think that is the weakest link, is that 9-10. Put pressure on the breakdown. You've got the boys that can do it. Make sure that they don't get protected. The downside to that is that ball is bang, in and out, gone and done. You can't put that pressure on the 9 like you used to be able to do. So that's where it goes to that next channel. Try and pressure the breakdown, but more importantly, pressure that fly half, trying to kick for territory, trying to unleash anything he can from the back lines, but you know he's going to kick a lot. He's going to sit deep, he's going to kick territory, high, that's what he's going to go for. So that's where you need to put pressure on. A couple of charge down kicks, like I said, that could put that pressure on, lower the confidence, and then destroy that link between your good forwards, who I think they can't get that ascendancy over, but they can through the rest of the team. If you don't have a good team kicking well, then you're going to put a team under pressure. And I'm afraid to say that's about the only place I can really see the Highlanders managing to do that. Overall, the Blues need to do what the Blues are already doing. Not much really to talk about. They've done 2 weeks of that already. Just don't change it. Do it more Blues and keep on going like that. I'm going to go with a Blues win for this one. I just think the Highlanders, they've got to be desperate to get something. They could potentially, maybe if they play at their best. But having that week off, the Blues not having a week off, they didn't really get used to the penalty sort of thing in round 1, but neither the Chiefs. I thought those two were on par. The Blues need to get used to it. They take 40 minutes. Highlanders need to go out hot, or Highlanders need to go out early if they want to stand a chance. Overall, though, I don't think they're going to pull out the victory, and I've gone the Blues. If we take it in this competition, it would seem relatively comfortably by 8 points over the Highlanders. But how much I would love to see an upset would be great. I'll be going head for the Blues, heart for the Highlanders, one way or other. Someone's going to be happy, or something is going to be happy in my body getting that result. But I'm going Blues by 8 for game number 1. Okay, so it's the second game of the round, the final game. The Crusaders are hosting the Chiefs. And I'll tell you what, it would be really nice if these teams playing on the second day, on the Sunday, could actually name their team a little bit earlier in the day so that I can actually do the preview a little bit earlier in the day and get it out to you guys a little bit earlier in the week. So as you can tell, it's the next morning. I'm still half asleep, but this first chance I've had to have a look at the teams named for the Crusaders and the Chiefs. And I tell you what, there's not really too much here to talk about. The Crusaders have named an unchanged 15 for this matchup on the Sunday. So the risk of the midfield of Braden Ennor, no problem. No injury of concern there for him. He stayed straight into that 13 jumper. The rest of the team's the same. The pack stayed the same. I mean, the Crusaders have got the most depth in all of the competition, and they just don't get the injuries that the other teams get. I mean, if the Chiefs, their opponents, suffered the injuries the Crusaders did, they'll be sitting quite pretty with a fairly strong side. But the Crusaders just seem to be that little bit extra fitter, that little bit extra prepared, and just don't seem to get hammered by those injuries as much. Their opponents, whoever, the Chiefs, a couple of good news, a couple of bad news items to go off this side as well. So they do bring back Mitchell Brown, who got injured in round 1. He's back into the starting lineup here this weekend. And of course, the captain himself, Sam Cane, is back. He'll start on the open side alongside Boshier and Soakula. But of course, there is no Luke Jacobson. Not because Sam Cane's back, it's because he's got injured as well. And he's out for the season. So you got to hope that Sam Cane can stay fit now for the rest of the year, because that is another area along with that second row that could be in trouble. Speaking of that second row, Tupu Vai is also out with an illness. So that means that it's great that Mitchell Brown is back, because they had no one else to replace him in there. So Akoi will stay there alongside Mitch Brown now. So big trouble here. They're just scraping by on a shoestring at the moment, the Chiefs, with players coming back from injury just as other players get injured. So it's a real tough spot for them. And it's a wonder how long they can keep this up before it all completely falls apart. Aiden Ross, Brady Slater, and Nepo Laulala will be their front row now. So a bit of change there. Takiaho moves to the bench for this weekend's matchup. And in the back line, there is a change on the wing as well. Solomon Alomalo, who started on the bench last week, will come into the starting lineup for the place of Sean Stevenson, who goes completely out of the 23. So that's a bit of a concern that he's gone as well. Not know if that's an injury or just a replacement, but I'll let the Chiefs go. I'd say he's probably broken. Also, more good news sees Mitchell Karpik return to the 23. He starts on the bench as well. And we see Tamua Manu, who we've ever seen this season, on the bench for the Chiefs also. So, plenty of changes in this Chiefs lineup. You still got Webby, you still got Cruden, Wainui, Antonina Brown, Quintapaya, and McKenzie are the rest of the backline players. But let's be honest about this. We need to see more from Weber, Cruden, Leonard Brown, to name just a few. If not McKenzie as well, of just his old school sort of self that's not so desperately trying to make something happen for this team. Overall, though, I think the big concern with this Chiefs side is how the game has changed. The game has changed in a way that it's working against how they play. Now, the Chiefs, very good with Boshier, Jacobson, Cane. Those guys were, you're quick to the ruck, disruptive sort of flankers. I think that sort of player doesn't exist in Super Rugby anymore. Under the new crackdown on the guidelines and the new rulings of how the game is ruled, that has worked against the Chiefs. You look at a ruck nowadays, you look at the rucks of Super Rugby Aotearoa, and they are bang in, balls out, gone. They are quick, they're fast, there's no chance, unless you're really there first, which we can see anyone can get there first and wrap their hands on the ball. We've seen fly halves with the most turnovers in games and rounds for that matter as well. So that the objective of the flanker getting there, whether it be second or third, and still being able to disrupt because the ball stays in there, it's a mess, that's gone. And I think the effectiveness of the both shares of the Jacobsons, maybe to an extent the Canes as well, we'll see how he goes, that is nullified quite significantly, which is why I think we're seeing the Blues play quite well when they've got those big ball carriers of Akira Ioane, Hoskins Tutu, and Dalton Papali'i as well to effect. He's a big lad. Those guys are having more of an effect because they just go smashing through. They've got that other side to their game. They're not that great in the ruck, but that doesn't matter anymore because anyone can do it. Richie Moanga gets rucks turnovers. Tammy McKenzie's getting ruck turnovers. He's a little guy on the paddock. That's what I mean. It's not so much of a ruck game anymore. It's not a slowing down of the game anymore. It is tackle. If you're first there, rapidly there, you can get under him. Anyone can do that. Then it's out. It's done. It's over. It's one and done. Let's move on to the next play. Those sort of flankers don't really have a place in the game the way it's ruled at the moment. If they stick with that, of course, it could change over time. The Chiefs, you might find, will come back into this competition later on if they do lax the way they're ruling it. But for now, I think a guy like Boucher, great player, just not as effective as he was before. And that's why I think as I'm seeing the Blues play a lot better than they were. And to fact, you'd probably say the Highlanders as well, because they were pretty poor around the park. Dylan Hunt is a warrior on defence. He wasn't that great of a flanker that disrupts the ruck. So he's kind of a bit probably more effective than he was before because the ball's open, it's free. He's happy to tackle and defend and get in there. And of course you've got Frizzell, who's not really that ruck disruptor either. So you've got all this change of sort of play for all these players that is changing the way the game is played. This match, however, though, it's hard to see much going the way of the visiting team. First of all, that's the first point. They're visiting, so they don't have that home crowd to get behind them to give them a little boost. The weather looks like it's going to be pretty average this weekend as well for Super Rugby, so that doesn't matter where you are. It looks like it's going to be pretty poor as well. And let's be honest, they have looked like the worst team in the competition so far, the Chiefs. The Crusaders showed in their opening game that they're happy to give away penalties to sacrifice conceding tries. So they're going to continue doing that, but I think where they really need to tighten up on the penalty front is their offsides. They got smashed to the offside line in the round 2, their first matchup, and that was kind of not the game plan at all. They won't want to give away yellow cards. How quickly will the referees crack down on that side of their game? If they can get away with it, they will. If they can get away with giving you 3, they will give you 3. They'll let you kick to the corner, but they'll make you take 3 eventually because you'll sit in there 22 for 5 minutes and get no reward. The Chiefs, they've got to get some reward. They've got to get points on the board. They've got to get points as fast as they can. But more importantly than anything, they need to defend like monsters. It's the only way they're going to stay in this game is not let the Crusaders score a million tries. But let's be honest, the Crusaders will score tries because that is just how good they are. Look at that opening game. First game back, we thought, yeah, they'll start a bit slower. They'll try to acclimatise themselves to the game. No, they scored a try inside a couple of minutes. That is how mad this team is, how they can do that after not playing the game against teams who have played matches already. So they're a freakish team. They're a crazy good team, and the talent in that backline, they've unchanged. So Bryn Hall, Moanga, Bridge, Goodhue, Enor, Reese, and Jordan. Will Jordan, best player on the paddock last round, and they're going to be hard to stop again. I pinpointed the Cullen Grace and the Billy Harmon area that teams could attack, but those guys just play a link-up game so perfectly well. They're always there when there's a break. They're always there to get that offload. They're always there to find support players outside them a bit quicker. The open game of the Crusaders is dangerous because you've got Grayson and Harmon right there on hand to either secure the ball back for the Crusaders or to link up play with an offload and then a pass through the backs. That is where they're most dangerous. They don't get in the rucks. And I mean, why not? Because there's not really a ruck to get into anymore. And Fitu Douglas does most of that hard mongrel work that you'd expect from the big, gnarly number 8. So they've got a really good little combination going here. I think Grace and Harmon will certainly be said, this is your roles. Just follow the ball around. Try to keep in there with it. Try to keep it alive if you can. If not, just win the ball. Don't try to do anything fancy. Don't try to do anything over the top. Just do those basic sort of things that you can do really, really well. So for the Chiefs, I think we're going to have to look at ways that the Chiefs can win this game. Penalties, kick, and defend really well. Try and play a very good territory game. Kick to the corners. Don't give the Crusaders errors and mistakes. Don't give them penalties. Kick to the corner. It sounds like we're expecting them to play the perfect game here, which is kind of how it is. If the weather conditions are poor, it'll come down to a forward battle. I mean, maybe will that give them a little bit more of a chance? Possibly. If you can cut out the more ball that the backs are going to get, it may give you a bit more chance that you won't concede as many tries, but you can still expect you're going to get Will Jordan who's going to be slicing and dicing through the defensive lines one way or another. So it's going to be tough for the Chiefs. Defend well, don't give away penalties, and, try and win a set piece. That's the other concern for the Chiefs. They can't win their scrum. They can't win their lineouts. How do they find a way to keep hold of the ball and put pressure on their opponents? If they can't do that, they are in a world of trouble. Of course, for the Crusaders, Scott Barrett out for the season as well, but he didn't play last round, So it's the same combination of Wylock and Dunshay in there, but they will miss him because I think the Crusaders line out wasn't the best. But up against the Chiefs, who have been abysmal all season long in the line out, looks like could be still advantage Crusaders on that one as well. Defend well, Chiefs. Risk the possibility of tries, and don't give away easy pittybacks up the ground for the Crusaders in the way of penalties. Take everything you can get. If you get a penalty in their half, take 3. Take 3, take 3. Kick. Just try and work towards a bonus point. Try and work towards something that you can keep in touch with this team. It's easy to stay in touch with the Crusaders. It's impossible to overtake them and lead them. They are a team that are relentless in attack, and they have that freakish skill to do things that other sides just cannot seem to muster. You might have guessed what I'm saying. I'm predicting a hard night here for the Chiefs, and that is exactly what I think it's going to be as well. This is a star-studded team that has adapted to the game very quickly and makes them an immediate danger to every single side in this competition. My result probably thinks I'm going a little bit lightly as well with my prediction. I'm only going to go Crusaders by 11. So less than 2 tries effectively, but I think the Chiefs may well be good enough to stay in touch, and the Crusaders may get a little bit complacent. It's something they kind of did do against the Hurricanes when they fired out to a good lead. They kind of did take their foot off the gas a little bit. They weren't that relentless full 80-minute display that we kind of expect for them. Will they be like that against the Chiefs? We will find out. I expect they will pick up a little bit more, so it could be even worse, but I think a minimum of double figures will be going the way of the Crusaders, and that's a bit harsh. It won't be triple figures, though. Don't worry about that. But we're looking 10 to 20 points at least going against the Chiefs here, depending what they can do. Orange Theory Stadium is going to be tough to go to. Crusaders at home, very, very hard for round 3 of the competition. So that is it for the Super Rugby Aotearoa preview for round number 3. We've got the Blues by 8, the Crusaders by 11. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And of course, go check out the website each week for previews and reviews. And of course, follow me on Twitter for my thoughts and comments over the weekend of the matches as well. It's been a 2-day video, this one. It's always hard when you got to do that. And first thing in the morning, I'm still half asleep. But that is it for Super Rugby this weekend. I will see you during the weekend and, of course, next week for plenty more videos. Thanks for coming by and saying hi. I'll see you for the next one. Until then, take care.